What is up, you guys? Brooke here. You all, I have an update to tell you all about my book that I am currently working on, which is temporarily being called Project New Orleans. And if you couldn't tell by that title, my book takes place in New Orleans and also in the 1920s. So as I started first writing this book, as I started to begin my characters' journeys and everything, I started this book out being told in third person. And that's always how I had written books of mine. My other book that I had self-published way back when, I had done that in third person too. And so I always thought I liked that more because when I first started out writing, I had played with first person here and there. But every time I started telling a story in first person, I always felt so whiny and complainy. I always felt like my characters were just bitching all the time. But I think that's because I was a newbie writer. I was trying to still figure out how I wanted my writing voice to be, and I was even trying to figure out what writing was in general. It's kind of hard to figure out writing whenever you're first writing a book for the first time, and you're still clueless on how it all kind of goes down and how it all works in the process of what your process is going to be. So anyway, I had written my first book in third person, and I just assumed that was my style. That was the way I would always be telling stories because that's how I began. That's how I started telling my stories in the first place. And so I just thought that's probably what I would be sticking to from here on out for the rest of my writing time. And that's how I began this book that I'm currently writing now. So I have always kind of favored third person just because I was used to that. But here's the kicker. I feel like I started to be more open to first person with all of these writing and drinking videos that I have done with Kate Kavanaugh. I'm sure you all know Kate. She's amazing and awesome and so joyful. She and I sometimes will do these writing and drinking videos where we give each other prompts to do, and we have to do the prompts while we are also doing the drinking of the drinks. And doing all these prompts all the time, I started to kind of play more with my writing craft and my writing style. And there would be a couple times of where I would write little snippets of prompts / stories in first person. And I actually really enjoyed it. And I remembered liking those so much. I felt like those writing and drinking videos were not just for funsies because they totally were fun, but they were also helping me become a better writer and to embrace a new style that I had kind of neglected there in the past. And it was so great to discover that. And whenever I had my time this year where I kind of put a pause to Project New Orleans, the book I'm currently working on, whenever I put a pause to writing my book, I started to kind of write this new story. I started kind of playing with this other book idea, and I started writing that book in first person. And I was having a lot of fun doing it. And I had so much fun doing it that I almost put Project New Orleans on pause forever. Maybe not forever, but I had wanted to put a temporary long-term pause on Project New Orleans because I was having so much fun telling a story in first person. I started to feel like I was getting in this really cool writing zone that I hadn't really been experiencing so much with Project New Orleans, and so I was having a lot of fun doing that. But eventually I felt guilty for ignoring Project New Orleans, and I went back to that, which I'm happy I did. And once I started working on Project New Orleans again, I started to be more in full focus mode. But then I started to question how I was writing the story. It wasn't what I was writing, it was how I was writing it. That was the struggle that I was facing. I just felt like my characters were not relatable as much. Everything was kind of almost mechanical almost. During my struggles, I started to question a different approach to my writing style. I started to think, okay, what if I wrote my book in first person? Because I really enjoyed writing that one story that I was kind of playing with while I had put Project New Orleans on pause. I had really liked writing that story, and I was like, well, what was the thing that made me so drawn to that so much more than Project New Orleans? And it was that I was having it be told through first person. I liked the style better. I felt like I could connect better with my characters, and I felt like everything was just connecting and clicking better that way. So after having all of these thoughts going through my head, I started asking people on one of my live streams a while back, started asking them their opinions on it. And after I had talked to people during the live stream, I started to feel really good about it until I sat down to edit the book. Whenever I started editing everything from third person to first person, I just started to be bombarded with, holy crap, this is a whole lot of freaking work. Are you able to even do this? Are you able to get through this? This is a lot. This is a lot for you, Brooke. Are you sure? And then I wasn't sure. I started to doubt myself and I started getting really, really scared. And so I just decided, nope, let's just keep it third person. That's a whole lot of stuff that you are going to have to change if you changed it to first person. And me not switching it up, me keeping it third person, I started to have the same struggles I had had before. I was not liking how I was telling the story and I just felt stale. I felt like that's exactly how I felt. That is the word. Felt like my writing was stale. It just felt like such a pain to sit down and write my book and know that I wasn't happy with what I was working on. So finally, one morning at glorious 5 o'clock before work, I sat down at my computer. I was kind of reading over what I had just written and I hated it. And so I said, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to play around with one chapter. Let me do one test chapter of making it from third person to first person and see how it goes, see how it does. I had gotten farther this time of changing everything up, of switching up third person to first person, and it was coming along smoothly. And I started to put more creativity, I felt like, back into my writing. I started having my characters kind of delve into deeper subjects. Their personalities started to pop more and they had more color to them. I felt like I had been writing in black and white and now they're colorful on the pages again or on the screen again because I don't write on paper. Everything just started to look livelier and just nicelier. That's not a word. Everything just started to come together oh so nicely. And as soon as that one chapter, that one test chapter was done where it was all switched, and I knew before even finishing that I was switching it. I was changing it all up to where it would be now told in first person instead of third person. And it was so exciting. I just kind of stopped thinking about how hard it was going to be. I started thinking about how wonderful it was going to be. I started thinking about that one quote I had said in another video that Tom Hanks said in A League of Their Own, the hard is what makes it great. And it does make it great, Tom Hanks, it does, because this is going to be such a hard undertaking, but I am so excited to see the wonderful product that comes from it. Or I can even quote Dumbledore here. Okay, how does it go? It has something to do with you have to decide between what is right and what is easy. And the easy way out was leaving my manuscript be. Well, not be entirely because it was crap, but leaving my manuscript in third person. That was the easy way. And the right way is first person for me. It is so right. It is the right thing to do. And I have been doing it for several weeks now. And I have been loving writing this way. If you follow me on Instagram, you have been seeing my posts of where I'm talking about how much I have been writing lately and how happy I am because I have been writing so much lately. As soon as I get home from work, instead of taking a break, instead of watching one 30-minute show or watching a few YouTube videos, I sit down at my desk and I freaking pump out words that are told in first person. I'm loving it. It is so much fun. And then also, by the way, this is different too. This is totally like a different change too. Not only am I changing everything in my book from third person to first person, but I'm also changing things from past tense to present tense. Wow, oh wowie wow. That's a lot to do. That's a lot to change, but it's a lot to handle. I can handle it, and I have been handling it. Present tense is kind of easy. I used to think it was hard. I have no idea if anyone else feels this way, but that's how I had felt. I just felt like it was a little bit more careful to do doing past tense rather than present tense. I used to write, she walked to the refrigerator. And now I write, she walks to the refrigerator. Oh my gosh, everything's so different now. No, okay, rewind. I used to write, she walked to the refrigerator, and now I write, I walk to the refrigerator. Okay, that's correct, because that's present tense and also first person. That is how I write now. Everything is more about I. Not me, my character's I. You know what I mean, hopefully. Ever since I started writing my book in first person, everything for me has like stepped up a notch. Everything now is focused on writing. I think about my book more. I truly do. I thought about my book a lot, of course, beforehand, but now that I'm writing my book in a way that I'm much more in love with now, my passion for it has severely increased. And I find myself just totally thinking about my characters all day long. Everything is coming into place for my book and my characters because I have changed it to be first person. And I am curious if other people have done this before, where you change how you're telling your story. And once you do, you just know that everything has like clicked into place or something. I'm just so happy and I'm on such a high right now. And my goals for Camp Nano coming up on, oh my gosh, we start Monday for Camp Nano. Camp Nano starts next week and I am fully proud to be writing my book. And if I had still been writing in third person, I probably wouldn't be as dedicated, but now I am. Now I feel like I am so dedicated to this thing. And so, yeah, I think that's all I have to say. I just am so happy. Please let me know down below if you are also doing Camp NaNoWriMo as well, because it's going to be so fun to cheer each other on and be badass writers together. If you liked this video, feel free to give me a big thumbs up below. I'd really appreciate it. And also my small channel would really appreciate it. Not just me, but my channel will be loved so much more by people if you just give me a little like. And don't forget to subscribe because I post writing related content every week here. And also click the little bell icon below so that way you are notified every time I post a new video. And thank you all so much for stopping by today. Happy Camp NaNoWriMo and I will see you next time. Bye!